Welcome back to this week's episode of Rangeless. We're Ryan and Britt.
And this week we're in Hanoi.
We've walked down to Train Street. I was in Hanoi 3 years ago. Things have changed.
Yeah, there's a police blockade. It looks like they fine you if you go down that block of the street without an escort.
Ryan hasn't been and he wants to go into one of the cafes. So I guess we need to figure out how to do that. You have to deal with the people.
All right, fine.
Okay.
We found our escort. And this is Train Street. Due to the confusion with the police barricades and escorts, we just missed the train, and the next train wasn't for another 2 hours. Be sure to check the timetable online before you come to Train Street and aim to be there about 30 minutes before the train's due, because it gets very busy.
Ryan thinks this is the coolest thing ever. I am highly disappointed because it is so much different to what it was just a few years ago when I came. There was no balcony seatings. It was literal tables on side the tracks that they removed when the train was coming. These official fancy cafes were outside people's homes with just a little table and their outdoor patio furniture. There were kids running around playing, grandma was cooking. Now it's just tourists. We ordered drinks. I ordered a coconut.
I got a mango smoothie.
A whole coconut. And it was 40,000 dong, which is $3 and change for both.
So I guess something happened that they no longer allow the tables out on the tracks and pull everything in when the train comes.
Yeah, obviously. But I mean, there was always stories about people standing too close to the train and people trying to get selfies so their back is to the train. Now we're talking. I love a coconut. Oh, this one's good too. It's like that jelly, when it's the jelly inside. That's the stuff. We're not hungover. If I was hungover, coconuts and motion sickness tablets. That's my cure. Notoriously everywhere around the world, no one wants to live on the train track. That's usually a least desirable real estate. As far as for the locals go that have the homes here, I don't know if they own these homes or not, but if they do, now they've really lucked out that their family home turned from something that was undesirable to something that's highly desirable and drawing people from all over the world. So that's cool. I like that, okay? If that's the way it is. I don't know how it works. It might all be owned by the government and then the people are just running it. I don't know. You know what else is good to know? So I was under the impression the people that were at the front were gonna then charge us to walk us to the cafe. It's not the case. You don't pay those people. Those people work or own or run or whatever the individual cafes. So the different people that are standing in the front will just take you to their cafe. You don't pay them to walk you there. I thought we were gonna get to the cafe and then the person that walked us there was gonna be and then go back to the front and do it to someone else, but it wasn't, so. I don't mind it as much anymore. I see how it works now.
And by the looks of things, once you've paid, you're good.
Yeah, that is what it looks like. Once you've paid to be down here, you're fine. So the tracks were originally laid in about 1902 under French colonialism. When they were originally laid, this was outside all the hustle and bustle of the city. But as the city expanded and grew, all the houses and shops became closer and closer to the tracks. Until we have what we have here, where the houses and the shops are built literally right next to the train tracks. We just found out why things have changed so much since I've been here. There was recently an incident back in 2019, which happens to be the same year that I was here, that there were so many tourists and people on the tracks, a train had to be rerouted. So the government decided to shut down Train Street and only recently started reopening it. So we're pretty lucky that we even got to come on the train today, or on Train Street today, which I'm happy we did because it is really cool still. I was just a little bit jaded in the beginning, but I'm glad that a train had to be rerouted and there was no catastrophe or anything that happened.
While the new restrictions have changed Train Street, it is still a totally unique experience to sit at a small table at a cute cafe as a huge train thunders by just inches from your seat.
Leaving Train Street, we braved the chaos of Hanoi traffic to get to our next destination.
The wild streets of Hanoi. A 7-minute walk from Train Street, we found ourselves in front of the old Vietnam War, or here in Vietnam known as the War of American Aggression prison, where they held a lot of American soldiers during that war in the 70s, including the late Senator John McCain. We've made it inside the prison. It was 30 Vietnamese dong to get in, which is a little bit over $1. The prison was originally built in the late 1800s underneath French colonialism, or was referred to as Indochina. The people who were kept here were for all different reasons, but a lot of them were political prisoners, so people that were against the French at the time. And it was one of the most heavily guarded prisons in the area, if not that. I think it might have been the heaviest guarded prison. This door was what I believe to be like the original door to the prison. So many people and prisoners walked through this door to serve their sentences, which for many of them, they only walked in the door.
The prison was originally named Maison Centrale, but soon became more commonly known as Hue Lo Prison, which means fiery furnace or hell's hole. Today, there's a grim atmosphere within the remaining parts of the prison, as you can imagine the brutal conditions the prisoners would have faced within the walls.
Inside this room is where they at one point held prisoners, and today they have full-size statues, so you can see how the prisoners were shackled to the tables. What they don't have on here is the neck guards that they used to put on the people that looked almost like they put their head through a short ladder. I couldn't imagine having to stay like that all the time, every day. That would be excruciatingly painful. We just entered into the dungeon area of the prison, which is where they kept prisoners who had broken rules. And they'd be shackled into these small dark rooms for who knows how long. One of the things they don't put on the signs inside the prison is how infested with rats this place would have been, and how the sanitation would have just been absolutely atrocious, because there would have been hundreds, if not thousands, I'm not really sure, but it would have been filled with prisoners. This almond tree has been here a really long time, and it served as a meeting place for many of the prisoners to come and talk about different things. They used to use the bark and the different pieces of the almond tree to help them cure dysentery, as well as using some of the tree to build little flutes and things for their entertainment. This was one of the sewer drains that led out of the prison, and 5 prisoners escaped successfully through there. But think about, that is so small. Think about how malnourished and just emaciated the humans that fit through there would have had to be.
Most of the prison was demolished in the 1990s, but in the parts that remain, there is also a museum on the Vietnam War, as many US fighter pilots were imprisoned here during the war. Outside in the rear courtyard, there are exhibits that show the horrific death and destruction caused by the war in Vietnam.
So we just finished our tour of the old prison in Hanoi. We're about a 20-minute walk from the restaurant that Anthony Bourdain and Obama ate in 2016 in Hanoi. So I think we're gonna head there for some lunch. So we're gonna go head inside and get something to eat. Yeah. Okay.
It is a little hectic. We got the Obama combo. They have a smaller menu here, which is most places in Vietnam, but I feel like either they have a smaller menu or they have like a super long menu, but every place that has a smaller menu, everything's really good. One of my favorite things about food in Vietnam is when you order things, you get a big plate of like herbs, lettuce, bean sprouts, like all it depends on what you're ordering, depends on where you are, but I love like you get to kind of like add stuff and make it yourself.
So one thing about a lot of the restaurants in Hanoi is they'll usually put the name of their signature dish in the name of the restaurant. So this place is Bun Chao in the end. So their specialty is Bun Chao. Bun Chao is grilled pork with rice noodles in a broth.
Our first thing came out, and it is a fried seafood roll, which has crab, prawn. I cheated, I looked at the menu, pork, and vegetables, and I can smell it, and it's literally divine. Oh, it's cut in half so I can show you what's in it. It's like crunching. Can you hear it on the mic? It's amazing. Bite it. Oh my god. And our soup. Grilled pork, fish sauce, a fish broth. There's a little bit of veg. And then you take the noodles, you dump some of the noodles in, you dunk it into the soup broth, and then you eat them. You have your soup, you have your noodles, and then you have all your herbs and stuff. You come, like here's like some nice lettuce, you like put it in your soup, and then you maybe take some of your noodles, and you get that in your soup, and you wanna like get it nice in your broth and like get that flavor, right? Oh, this is gonna be a big bite. It is fresh from like the lettuce, the noodles. Everyone loves rice noodles, they're delicious. Perfect like texture. And then you can taste like the barbecue from that pork. And the broth is like a fish broth. It's so good. I'm gonna try a piece of that meat. Flavorful and delicious and off the barbecue. It's even better than I remember it, to be honest.
You ready to watch an Irishman struggle with some chopsticks? Oh, that's really, really good.
Moments that changed your life. This.
Oh, that's fantastic. So much flavor. It's almost sweet, but it's like a fish sauce, so it's very, very lightly fishy, but it's really, really good. Oh yeah, Obama knew what he was doing.
Now I've been here before, and the table is now in a different spot. The one that's plexiglass that Obama and Anthony Bourdain sat in, it may or may not be a different table. I just think it's funny.
So we've arrived at the Cathedral of St. Joseph in Hanoi. This cathedral was built in 1884 by the French, and it continuously operated until the 50s. This church wasn't opened again until 1990, Christmas Eve, and it's been in continuous operation ever since.
I think it's time to go caffeinate. And the original, well, what claims to be the original cafe that invented egg coffee, which is a famous coffee here in Hanoi, is not that far. And I think Ryan could, it's time he tries an egg coffee. And if you've been following just my channel for a long time on Instagram via Brit, you've seen me try the egg coffee, and you know how I feel about it. So we'll see how Ryan feels about it. It's only like a 7-minute walk from here. Easy, let's go. Hello, two?
Yes, you order here, please.
Okay. Can we get one hot egg coffee?
One hot egg coffee?
Yes, and one coconut coffee.
One coconut coffee.
Yes.
The coconut coffee is with ice, okay?
Yes.
Thank you. So you pay here first, please.
Oh, we pay here first. Okay.
85,000, please.
Sure. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank you.
And can you take this with you?
Of course. Thank you so much.
And we'll bring for you upstairs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a pretty spot.
So this is the famous Vietnamese egg coffee? Oh wow. Just looking at the texture. I'm gonna try it.
It's not bad. I like it. I think it's good. It was cold on the top. Like the top of the frosting is cold, but then once you get to the coffee underneath, it's quite hot.
What does it taste like?
It's kind of just sweet coffee that's like sticky. It's almost like a, what's the texture? Sort of like a meringue texture, yeah.
Then you taste the egg.
I can't taste the egg. It's really, really thick. So like trying to just sip it from the cup is almost, it feels like almost just trying to suck a smoothie through a straw. It's that thick. But I like it, it's good.
I've tried this before. It's not my favorite. I can smell it. It smells like a hard-boiled egg. It tastes like eggs. Like I like eggs. I like coffee. I don't want egg in my coffee. I've tried it. Again, I've gone ahead and ordered a coconut coffee. This is a tried and true coffee that I love. Like, look at that. It's a milkshake. It's coconut milkshake. With a coffee suggestion in it. Oh, you wanted me to share? Maybe. So we're walking by the lake now, and the streets are blocked off. It's a Friday, and every weekend they block the streets off. They have concerts, they set up like a big stage, and there's music. There'll be people dancing. They even will have like physical challenges. Back there they have a spicy noodle challenge, like stands set up. I've also seen people on the side smoking taklao, which is I believe how it's pronounced, but it's like this extra strong tobacco that you smoke out of this long bamboo pipe, and it's supposed to make you really lightheaded. Never tried it, but a lot of backpackers and tourists that come to Vietnam do. We're walking towards the second water puppet theater to see what time the shows are there and to see how much the tickets cost there, as well as there is the temple that is inside the lake. They forget the whole story with it, but there's something about a magical turtle, and there are lots of turtles there. I love the Vietnamese water puppet tradition. It is such a good show. Even though it's all in Vietnamese, it doesn't matter. It has beautiful music, so we're gonna get tickets to go tonight. They have a show every single night, at least one. When the rice beds are flooded full of water during harvest season, the families would put on these puppet shows to the kids and for the other members in the family, because we all enjoy it. So the traditions and the stories will be passed on for generations and generations.
It is best to buy tickets in advance for the water puppets because they often sell out. Tickets are 100,000 dong a piece.
For 6:30 today, please. Thank you. All right, we're good. We're set.
Located on an island in the middle of Ho Kiem Lake is Ngak Son Temple, where the only way to access the temple is across this beautiful wooden bridge. Crossing the bridge, you will find yourself immersed in centuries-old architecture and serene ambience. You will also discover a couple of legendary creatures within the temple.
I've learned some more details of there's magic turtles that live in the lake story. Someone was invading, and the magic turtle in the lake created a magical crossbow to defeat the invaders, and they won. And again, in 15th century BCE this time, the Ming dynasty was attacking, and the magic turtle created a magic sword, and they were able to defeat the Ming dynasty and gain independence. The king at the time took the magic sword, and he then decided to give this sword back to the magic turtles, and legend has it that that sword is still out in this lake today, and the turtles that live in this lake are the protectors of that magic sword. They are the magic turtles. So they have two turtles here that passed and came out of this lake of this species. One in 67, I think, and the other one in 2016. The first one was taxidermied, and the second one was used a classification process and actually done in Germany, and it took 6 years. I mean, not 6 years, 2 years to do. They are here, and you can view them, and they are huge. They look like magic turtles. They are magic turtles.
After spending most of the day exploring, we took a break for a while in our hotel and came back out after the sun went down. We had tickets for 6:30 for the water puppets. There's 2 main theaters next to Hoquiam Lake, and tickets are very affordable. The shows are incredible with traditional singing and live traditional music. Each show tells about 6 different stories, one after the other, which are a mix of Vietnamese legends and mythology and folk tales which describe how life was in the past in Vietnam. Everything's in Vietnamese, but the shows are so well done, you'll be able to understand them in any language. I really liked it. That was really fun. That was really cool, the water puppets. I'm still trying to figure out how they did it all underneath the water. This is cool. This is my first night market. I didn't know there was such a thing as night markets until I got here today. We've been walking for like 3 or 4 minutes now, and there's no end in sight of this. This thing looks like it goes on for miles. The night market had stalls for everything, from clothing to local craft items. It only operates on the weekends and stretches 3 kilometers in length. After finding a couple of cool souvenirs at the night market, we decided to experience some of Hanoi's vibrant nightlife. So we arrived at Beer Corner. This is like the huge nightlife spot in Hanoi. So like, as you can see, all these little seats along the road. So everyone sits outside in the street and drinks in the little chairs. There's a lot going on here. It's kind of overstimulating, to be honest. Like a lot of people, as you're walking through, they're like, "Oh yeah, come sit down here, come sit down here, come sit down here." And they're like, it's not that bad though, because you just say no thank you and they leave you alone. Like other places, they keep following you. The prices here are a little bit more than everywhere else in the city, but it's my first time in Hanoi, so like I wanted to come and experience it. Like I've never been to anything like this before. Like I've heard about places like this, always wanted to see it. I think it's pretty cool. After enjoying the hectic atmosphere of Beer Corner, it was time to find something to eat. Luckily, Hanoi is one of the world's best places for amazing street food.
We have found Bun Chao, which is found all across the capital here in Hanoi. Now, it comes from a tradition of farmers finding the fattest and the juiciest crabs and snails from their fields and pounding them into a paste. Then taking that paste and like bubbling it away until it is filtered through a basket. Then mix it with some vinegar, some tomatoes, and they make an incredible broth of it. And then they serve it with rice noodles and escargot, fresh herbs, as well as what you will find on all the tables. That's my favorite, and I've said it before, a basket of lettuce, mint, cilantro, and all different herbs. I'm very excited to try this. I feel like I need, and the woman put like some like vinegar with some chilies and some other fun things in it. So let's see. Woo! That's got a kick, and it is so freaking good. Anthony Bourdain, I'm pretty sure opened up his season 8 show where he says Hanoi just does some things better than anyone else. This is one of those things. It is spicy. It is complex yet simple. It is fresh. It has big juicy snails.
This is my first time trying anything with snails in it. So like never had escargot, never had anything with any snails. Tastes good. That's not really a snail though. I think one of these pieces right here is snail meat or snail something. There's not much like instant flavor off of it. The texture is kind of like, almost like an eel, like chewy, rubbery kind of texture. I was honestly expecting it to be a lot more like squishy and slimy, but it wasn't. That is a wrap on our first day in Hanoi.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.